Right, hello everyone. Just wanted to give you a little update and, if you like, a little understanding about this up and coming IDP. So the IDP is an instructor development program that we usually run at the headquarters in Europe of UC. Now, we've had one completely successful full course, and the second course is about at the halfway point, and of course this COVID bullshit got in the way and fucked everything up. So but it is still pending. But we decided to do an IDP here in the UK. Now, I've put the dates up already. It will begin in October, and the ideal would be it runs October, November, December, January, February, March, finishing in March. It will be held in Poole in Dorset, which is the south of England. Quite a prestigious venue, which is the Tier 1 Martial Arts Centre. One of the instructors there is Phil Norman, legendary martial artist, and we will be taking part there. Now, of course, anything can happen during those times that may halt us keeping to current dates or create a hiccup in the process or whatever else, but we're going to forge ahead and be optimistic that we'll be able to run a thing from beginning to end, and if not, we'll work around it. But it's certainly starting in October. Now, I'm absolutely overwhelmed with the response that I've got from advertising the IDP in the UK. Many good people want to take their UC credentials further. So ideally the course was devised for those who are either current UC students or current students in combatives or within the reality-based self-protection type of training realm. That's not to say it wouldn't be available to the person with very limited experience or no experience, but ideally it's geared towards somebody that has an understanding of what they're doing already. Now, in order for me to answer some of the questions that have come about, obviously there is certain criteria that needs to be met. This is not a case of pay your money, here's your certificate. I do not subscribe to that. So it's not like that. It is has to be earned. Now, the first course would start with UC Foundation, which will cover grade 1 and grade 2. The second will be all about counter weapons, which will cover grade 3. Grade 4 would be everything to do with anti-grappling from a street perspective, both vertical and horizontal on the ground, as well as in a confined space, such as in a vehicle or a corner, etc. This is where you're introduced to secondary tools. The fifth and final grade for a UC student would be all elements relating to dealing with multiple assailants. This is as far as a UC graded student can go. Beyond that, grade 6, which is in 2 parts, would take the student either to a UC coach level, an apprentice instructor level, or a full instructor level, pending all qualifications successfully passed. So there'll be 6 total gradings. Each one of these physical gradings will have a stress test element attached to it, which will finalise into the grand finale of the stress test, which will, to be honest with you, be one of the hardest things you've probably ever done in your life. So it's certainly a case of if you get knocked down 6 times, you get up 7. Understand what would be present during this pressure test is complete non-compliance. The objective of the instructors that will be kitted up in testing you in a very spontaneous way would be to show you what you're capable of, to show you how your skill level has grown, and to show you what you can do, not to show you what they can do. So you will be gradually stressed over the first coming 5 training sessions and gradings, and it will, like I say, peak for grade 6, where you would take your stress test. So grade 6 is in 2 parts. The first part is instructional enhancement, which uses a lot of advanced learning technologies such as neurolinguistic programming, etc. So grade 6 on the theory side is really about me teaching you how to teach. So as a student, if you came and did the whole course from, let's say, grade 1 through to grade 5 successfully, and you decided to leave it there, you would leave as an advanced student of UC with the potential to become a coach. When you're actually learning UC, of course, when you should question anything that you learn, I am basically showing you the curriculum. So you are learning the or how something works, and you will put it in application under pressure for you to see how it works for you. So you are learning the hows of how something works. Beyond that, if you are seeking to become an instructor, then the instructor development program as the first part of grade 6 is now me teaching you how to teach. So there's a big difference between me teaching you my curriculum as a student, where you simply need to know how to do it, compared to me teaching you how to teach it as an instructor, where you actually need to know the whys and hows of how something works. There's a big difference. So UC prides itself on producing a very high level of instructors, and the instructional enhancement program that they go on, although you may be an existing instructor in the method that you employ and you may be pretty good at it, what it actually does is identifies how people learn best, and it also identifies how people do things well, including teaching or installing skill sets in others. So you'll probably recognise, if you're already an instructor in some kind of RBSD method, that you're already doing these certain things that I'm going to implement to show you. But once you realise and identify the whys and hows of how somebody does something well, then you can apply it as a better strategy and make yourself even more proficient. The second part of grade 6 is purely the UC stress test, which will, you'll need to say and assign a waiver. It will probably be in some kind of environment. It might be an underground parking lot, it might be a nightclub, it might be a pub. It'll be something less sterile than a gym environment, and you will face complete spontaneous non-compliant pressure where you will need to counter-respond. Although preemption is our primary goal, I rarely allow the student to preempt inside of a simulation or a scenario training, because it would be all too easy. So you are more likely to face spontaneous, unexpected pressure. But over these 6 sessions, you are gradually inoculated to stress in bite-sized chunks that are much more palatable. And regardless of where you finish the course, whether you finish at grade foundation, which is grade 1 and 2, whether you finish 3 counter weapons, 4 anti-grappling, or 5 multiple assailants, if you finish at any point there, you will leave the course an advanced student. If you go beyond that and you come into the realms of grade 6, whether you successfully complete grade 6 or not, you can become a UC coach and an apprentice instructor, where you'll get the opportunity at a later date to potentially fix anything that you didn't do too well at, so that you could get the full qualification of a full UC instructor. Now, certification is really not the important part about it. What's more important is the journey. So what is guaranteed to you wherever you start and finish in the course, you will certainly be further advanced along in terms of development on both the physical and psychological and emotional level than you were when you started. So it really is growth in the doing. If you are of the kind of mindset that you just want to sign up for and get the qualification or the certification, because UC over the years now has become more than established and more than respected in the world of reality-based self-defense, without being derogatory in any way to other methods. Within Krav Maga alone, there are very, very good high-level instructors and high-level students, some of which are my students and my instructors. But in the same vein, where it has been marketed so much, and that there is probably more Krav Maga schools than you can actually shake a stick at, the quality over that period of mass produce has diluted it somewhat. But with that said, as in anything, there are some great people inside of Krav Maga, and there are some people, as in anything else, that are not so good. But usually when you say to somebody, "Oh, I'm an instructor in Krav Maga," or anyone in the know will say, "Oh, that's interesting." But if you say the same thing to anyone in the know, "Oh yeah, I've just become an instructor in UC," and they know what you're talking about, they say, "Fucking hell, I bet that was hard, wasn't it? I bet that was a real test of character. Why don't you tell me about it?" Because it will be indeed a big test of character. So regardless, if you take the plunge to come in on this course, the way it's designed is You pay pretty much for what you do as you go, unless you choose to undertake the whole thing. So you could leave at the second session, which would put you at grade 3 if you were successful. You probably wouldn't leave at that point because it's created momentum for you to continue. But if life got in the way or something else come up, you would already now leave the course getting what you paid for, and will have incrementally grown on both the physical and emotional level. You would have experienced growth of some point, because taking part is really what it's all about. If you went through to all the graded student stages, which is, like I said, up to grade 5, you will leave an advanced student. And if you take it from beyond that, you will really learn methods of how to teach and implement and install the skill sets into another student very quickly. And you will also learn quite a lot about yourself. They say growth lies in the discomfort, and trust me when I tell you, the stress test will be one of the hardest things that you'll ever do, but you will have everything shown to you that you need on all levels in which to complete the whole thing successfully. It just comes down to how bad you want it and how willing you are to put forth that essential mental toughness and get where you want to be. If you are of the mind where you just want to do this for some kind of certification, well, you're probably not going to be you're probably not going to get the outcome that you want, and you're going to probably end up leaving somewhat, because like I said, this is not about certification, although it's plausible to get certificated in this up to a level of full instructor. The ratio is probably less than 50% that may actually successfully get all the way through. If we look at the statistics from the first UC IDP that we did in Germany, there was approximately 30 people, and 12 made it through to full instructor. Many made it through to apprentice instructor, where they are now pending whatever it is they needed to fix so that they could go further. But regardless of any case, every student grew from this and learned something about themselves and learned something useful in a combative self-protection sense that they could give to others. Now, what we have decided upon in terms of feedback from the last course, if you like, is one of the most essential requirements that you're going to have is you are going to need to embrace the fact that you're going to cultivate mental toughness. And that might initially feel uncomfortable to you, but you're going to need to go with it because you're going to need that. The other side of the coin is you are going to need a degree of physical conditioning. Everybody needs some physical conditioning, so you need to be fit to fight, particularly if you pressure test and scenario test and you add elements which will induce adrenaline. You're only going to be half as fit as you think you are. So this time around we've decided to add an entry requirement in terms of what you potentially need. Now, in a physical sense, this is really what I'm going to say to you now will be nothing to some, a little bit of a challenge to others, and maybe somewhat out of reach for you right now to others again. But the entry requirement from a strength perspective point of view, you're going to need to be able to do 10 to 15 pristine push-ups. You're going to need to be able to do at least 5 pull-ups properly, pulling yourself up chin over bar. You're going to need to be able to sprint a fast distance of 50 meters explosively, or as fast as you can move. And I think maybe the criteria else of that will be 10 to 15 burpees. You'll need to become proficient in that. So understand that whenever we do the stress testing elements, there will be elements of physical conditioning involved, which will induce fatigue very quickly. The idea of cultivating the fitness that you need to fight reflects on the anaerobic, non-oxidative energy system, what's called ATP anaerobic system. So basically, if you think about the energy source that you're going to employ for the first 10 seconds of an all-out emergency situation, whether that was running for your life from a rabid dog or whether that was fighting like fox so that you could escape, the energy system employed here will be called what's called ATP anaerobic. That's adenosine triphosphate, and it's the element that's in the compound that's in the muscles that is often tried to be replicated in the supplement creatine monohydrate. What you actually implement is an energy source for the first 5 to 10 seconds of an all-out effort I mean, as hard as you can work, that's the energy system that you're going to employ. Other elements of fitness come into it: aerobic strength, aerobic fitness, in particular speed strength, and also some degree of power endurance. But usually a fight event is over in 5 to 10 seconds. So the kind of fitness that you need needs to reflect that. So we need to cultivate that on the way. But with having an understanding of a basic requirement level to get in, can you do 10 push-ups pristine? I don't mean bouncing your hips and bending your arms quarter inch. I mean arms by side, down, touch your nose, push back to the plank position. A solid moving plank. Can you get 10 push-ups? Can you get 5 pull-ups strict without swinging, pulling your chin over the bar? Can you do 10 to 15 burpees? And can you sprint 50 meters without being totally blown out? These are going to be the entry requirements on a physical level. And like I said, for some of you, been training a long time. Some guys interested in this at the moment come from a combat sport background, where they're proper athletic and proper fit anyway. So for the majority, that will be most doable. If it's slightly out of reach for you at the moment, well, don't put boundaries on yourself, work towards it. The course starts in October. Now you're getting a heads up. What we might also do is at some point in September or before the event, we might do just an entry-level test day where you can come in and see what you're going to have to expect and where you're going to need to be. But basically what I would say is the entry requirement right now, I'll leave it up at the end of this video so you can note that down, note where you are physically right now in order to meet that, and or where you've got to go to get to that point. So, like I said, I don't want you to put any boundaries on yourself. I mean, this will be a hard course. Anything that's worth having, it doesn't come easy. UC is a legitimate credential within this business. This is not about paying money as your certificate. I've never been interested in that at all. I'm interested in producing good people that are capable and capable of giving that knowledge on to others that might need it. So there will be development in your physical ability. There will be development in your physical conditioning. There will be development in your mental and emotional conditioning. There will be a hardiness developed. There will be a mental toughness that will translate to other areas of your life. So think about UC as a self-development tool, if you like, that you can apply to many other areas of your life, be it work, be it relationship, be it whatever else. You're going to learn some candid lessons about yourself, and going to be encouraged to explore and go inward to a self-awareness point of view. The objective is to get past your egoic self and actually see what you've got to work with and make the best version of you that you can. UC combative training just happens to be the vehicle that I employ to help get people to that point. So for those of you that are interested, like I said, the dates are posted. Now, anyone that's emailed me, I'm going to get back to you over today, the next couple of days, give you the pricing, give you the understanding of what happens if you can't make a session, and various other things. So all questions will hopefully be answered over the next couple of days. And like I said, I'm quite overwhelmed with the response that we've had. The cut-off point is about 25 people. This also, we've left room approximately 5 people that are on the current IDP in Germany. If you, wish to come over and try and fill in what you've lost so far, because I've been totally unable to travel. I will not comply to conditions and be told that I've got to have tests and vaccinations in order to have my free right as a sovereign being to travel. I will not be dictated to. So until this silliness is all brought to a point of clarity, then that part of my career travelling about has been put on hold. I'm sure it will resume at some point in the future, and I'll be happy to get back on the international seminar circuit. But right now we're only running the IDP in the UK. So like I said, anyone currently on the German programme is welcome to come in from where they left off. So like I said, October will start with foundation, and October will start with foundation. November will be grade 3 counter weapons. So if anyone's already done counter weapons, they can come in November. If there's anybody already graded up to grade 3 level, then you can come in in December, which will be grade 4, etc. like that. Wherever you've left off, you're welcome to pick up the reins on this course coming in. And that's about it really. Other things that are happening, some of you may or may not know, I've been writing an autobiography, if you like, called Path to the Peaceful Warrior, which is something that I intended to leave this business with. So I've got no intention of leaving this business at any point, that's not what I'm saying, but I actually started to write this book about 5 years ago, and probably got as far as 1 or 2 chapters and just left it. But for some reason, over the last year, I have had, or start of this year, I have had something giving me a push to crack on with the book, and now I'm probably about a third towards halfway through it, and it's quite an interesting thing for me to do, because it allows me to, in a sense, therapeutically put things to rest and give them closure that may have created a problem for me in my life, and it would also give you a deep understanding as to how UC has become what it's become. So yeah, Path to the Peaceful Warrior is something that I hope to finish by the end of this year, so that's something you might want to look out for. Also, the UC Online is moving from strength to strength. We had some teething problems in the beginning, but we're starting to get a really good platform now where everything that pretty much UC has ever put out in an archive sense is in one place and available for everyone. A reasonable price of 15 quid a month, so that's the best way you can get access to most of the material. Outside of that, you might also purchase downloads, PDFs, books, t-shirts, etc. All that kind of stuff is available, and pretty soon that's all going to be available in one place via urbancombatives.online. Just go to the shop there. Any events that are happening here in the UK in September, I'm pleased to say that I will be getting together again with Phil Norman, who's a legendary martial artist and a martial athlete, martial warrior in this business, as anyone will know. And we're going to be doing another joint seminar together again in Poole in Dorset. One final stipulation that I will make for anybody coming on this IDP program is that the actual gym where we're going to be operating, Tier 1 Martial Arts, is a stringent martial arts gym, where they have the ghost boxing and they have kickboxing and they have JKD concepts and JKD take on actual street applied combatives, as well as some grappling, Filipino Kali. It's a great martial centre, if you like, but the only difference for us is we always usually train in street shoes. We would always do that. And here, unfortunately, with the mats, there's going to be a necessity for everybody to get either flat boxing boots or flat grappling boots, just to give you a heads up with that, which is something really you should have, because it's quite a useful thing if you ever decide to go into a matted area gym and have a go at what they do. And I recommend that you should cross-train. Anyone who's training in reality-based self-protection or combatives should also, learn how to strike, and the best place to do that is a boxing gym. You should learn how to roll and learn how to grapple, and the best place to do that is any kind of martial arts or wrestling gym. So the actual foundation of any combative or martial method through history stems from pugilism, learning how to punch and strike, and also from any type of wrestling, learning how to manhandle and get manhandled. But for this particular course and environment, you will need grappling boots. If there's any more kit list for me to suggest to you that you will need, then closer to time I will let you all know. I will get back to everybody that has sent me an email. I thank you for your interest, and I will send you the in-depth information, and from there you can decide whether it's for you or not. Okay, peace.